Howdy, y'all. This is Thomas, bringing some news and awareness to the uranium market. And this is going to be huge here. We got Boris Johnson calling for increase in investment for the UK in terms of the nuclear power, the nuclear sector, and the coming uranium bull market. A lot of people are saying we're in the early innings, and we're just we're strapping in. We're seeing what's going to happen here. Um, Let me know if you're a bull long term for the uranium sector, commodities in generals. If you're following the channel, you know that I enjoy commodity investing. Of course, this is just my due diligence. You can feel free to subscribe and come along with the journey, uh, and have another set of eyes and ears doing some research for you. But that's all this is. This is research. It's not financial advice. So be responsible for the things that you do on your own, with your own resources. So here it is, Boris Johnson to bet big on nuclear energy despite Senec's reservations. So we got Boris Johnson here, who is really saying that England has dropped the ball for years when it comes to nuclear investments. And Boris Johnson wants his promised energy security strategy to bet big on nuclear despite Rishi Sunak's reservation. But he has cooled on more onshore wind turbines in England amid conservative backlash. So I think it makes sense to really diversify the energy dependence of a nation, just because these type of events happen. Where supply constraints happen, black swans, just anything is possible. So diversification is a good way to hedge, especially when citizens' lives are at stake. In terms of energy, this is not something that is you know something that you could just flick on and off like a light switch. Uranium takes years of preparation, investments into the infrastructure. So it is something that has to come with a lot of forethought. So UK getting behind the uranium bull run is a major player. They definitely use a lot of energy and have a strong political presence in terms of NATO, and really looking to unify the West against the in conjunction with the sanctions on Russia. So that's the type of stuff that we're looking for. Just interpreting news and really trying to see how that affects investment opportunities, and not to profiteer from war, but just to position ourselves to build wealth for our families in the coming years, because that's what it's all about here. For my channel, I'm definitely looking to help the retail investors with any edge that I can provide in terms of investment information. This is not financial advice. It's just my own personal due diligence that I'm just recording so y'all can see what the journey is. Like and subscribe if y'all want to come along with that. So Boris Johnson wants his promised energy security strategy to bet big on nuclear despite Rishi Sunak's reservations, but he has cooled on more onshore wind turbines in England amid conservative backlash. The Prime Minister is determined to press ahead with plans to build up to 8 new nuclear power stations, even though the Chancellor has concerns about the cost, projected to reach more than $13 billion. The only thing about sovereign nations is, of course, they have the ability to balloon balance sheets beyond reasonable amounts. 13 billion euros is a lot. So we're gonna see if they hold with this 8 new nuclear power stations, or if they scale it back some when it makes it through its rounds through the parliamentary systems. So, but 8 new nuclear power stations is a lot, and interested to see how keep our finger on the pulse and see how this develops. It is understood that energy strategy expected to be announced next week is likely to contain targets for nuclear, but it will not put a figure on the cost. We'll see how that works. But 8 new nuclear power stations will definitely have an impact on the market and the spot price. These, you can't just buy a little bit of uranium. It takes time to get all the infrastructure built, and also to make it worthwhile. And if the trend is indicating anything, is that if you're going to build 8 new power stations, you're going to want to purchase a lot of uranium to ensure that you have supply for these without to beat the market before it continues to rise. Johnson will also commit to a stretching target on offshore wind, according to Whitehall source, but he is now said to be less enthusiastic about the possibilities of onshore wind in England, believing Scotland offers a better landscape for new turbines. So we'll keep our eyes on that, and who's contracted to produce those turbines, if and when. So we can position ourselves according to that as well. One ally of the prime minister said he would not really be pushing for onshore wind in England, although it would be in the strategy as an option where people want it, which realistically means in Scotland. Johnson and Sunak are understood to have discussed the new strategy this week, which was commissioned to ensure security of supply amid soaring gas prices fueled by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So everybody's trying to secure energy, which is causing a rush for all energy sectors, and but we'll see. Uranium has room to run, where the oil market really doesn't. It's a little oil market is so intertwined with world economic powers and the energy consumption. It's a little tighter market. So we'll see. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna keep our eyes on that. So subscribe if you want to, catch the latest on that information as well. Sunak will be in London for the launch of the strategy. However, he is reported to be going on holiday in California, where he has a second home. It's always nice to have a second home in another country. Um, yeah, at some point over parliamentary recess, despite rising pressure over the lack of measures to help the cost of living and energy bills in the spring statement. So, we'll see. We'll see how all this kind of stuff plays out, and also keep our, our feelers out there for sentiment, for civilian sentiment as well as investor sentiment, because those things can be intertwined often. The Treasury is understood to have concerns about expanding nuclear power in the UK, with the cost of new plants due to the loaded onto people's energy bills under the fresh funding system. The government would be likely to take minority stakes in new projects, and has set aside an estimated 1.7 billion on getting one plant, Sizewell C, in a position to go ahead. So we do have 1.7 billion getting aimed at getting aimed for this project to be developed. So that these are bullish signs. 1.7 billion is not a small amount. But with a renewable focus on winning the UK off gas, Johnson is insistent that the need to press ahead with new plants, with a draft target of around 16 gigawatts of nuclear power in the medium term and closer to 30 gigawatts in the longer term. So that's a doubling. He's looking to increase their diversity in energy consumption, as well as their energy independence. So it's interesting to see who's going to step up. Of course, they're they have friendly ties with Canada, of course, the U.S. and the Western nations. So we'll see who's gonna be able to capitalize on all this government spending, in terms of building the infrastructure and providing the enriched uranium. So according to the government's own impact assessment, it takes on average 13 to 17 years from initial investment to electricity being generated by a new nuclear power, a new nuclear plant. Well, that's a long time. So, this means that they're definitely behind the curve in terms of immediate impact, but these are bullish signs for long term nuclear bull run. So let me know what y'all think about that. If it's if we're gonna see more short term volatility, and if you're willing to hold through that because you're a long term you're a long term bull. If y'all are day trading uranium, I'm interested to know what's on the hearts and minds of the uranium community, as well as just a retail investment, and what's going on with y'all. Onshore wind allies of number 10 had described Johnson as open-minded but passionate about offshore. He appears to have cooled on the prospect of more onshore wind, as well as the potential for fracking in England, because Tory MPs are resisting developments in their constituencies. So there's definitely some the politics are always going to have a large impact on the ways the capital moves into different sectors. So if y'all are unfamiliar with the carbon credits, major news on the carbon credits, definitely come check that out as well. I have some videos on that on the channel. Check those out if you're unfamiliar with carbon credits and the huge inflow of capital into that sector, and how it all ties together with the ESG movement, much bigger than the EV craze that we saw earlier with the NEO and Lucid and Tesla, of course. Those stocks, and the battery stocks. Well, there's much bigger things at play. So hopefully y'all can, enjoy those videos and come, get some deeper knowledge of what's occurring there, so that you're not just surface level investing and wondering what's going on. So providing that type of information is going to be some of the agenda on this channel. The idea of giving communities discounts on their energy bills if they accept onshore developments in their areas has been mooted, meaning the prospect of new developments is not impossible, but still difficult. However, Johnson has been giving out mixed messages on onshore wind after telling a group of industry leaders this week that he was horrified how long the planning process takes. He was told that a wind turbine can be put up in a day, but planning permission can take a decade. So that's interesting stuff. Well, we've built out the infrastructure for a long time, with natural gas and oil. So it's definitely not going to be just a turnaround. You can't just 180. This is going to be a long-term long-term investments. You got to build the infrastructure, and you got to have the investors, countries and private investors to get behind this type of move. And they're going to move when the citizens green light it. Official expert number 10 will approve an energy bill to set targets and strategy for energy security, to be announced in the Queen's speech in May. So we'll keep our eyes on that as well. You're going to see a lot of energy and security being tied together. That is definitely going to be a coming trend. Everybody wants to diversify their energy sources, because they don't want to be, what like this says, being bullied by Russia. Nobody wants to be dependent on another country's supply. So this is, fitting the theme that globalization is on the decline, and nationalism, especially in terms of commodities, is on the rise. So that's also a trend. The UK has struggled to build new nuclear power stations in recent decades, with the Japanese conglomerate Hitachi in 2020 pulling out of plans to build a new reactor in Waifa, hard to say, North Wales, and move a move against allowing Chinese investment in the Sizewell Sea on the Suffolk coast. I should probably try to say those in with the English accent. So yeah, so here it is. This is politics influencing capital flow and infrastructure. So this is just this is the type of stuff that you want to keep your eyes on. And if you're a supporter of the small channel, help like and subscribe. Let's hit that 20 subscribers. That's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to see that. We'll definitely go crazy with publications, as the more reception we see, the better it's gonna be. So stay tuned. Tell me what y'all think. Is this bullish news? Are y'all gonna wait for some pullbacks? Let me know. I like to keep tabs on how, like I said, what the sentiment is. Catch you on the next one.